Hello again, everybody. I am excited about this one. I want to just kind of give you a little bit of a preview of a game that actually some of you, the viewer, put me onto. It's called War Selection. You know, I'm always talking about how I love to find new free or inexpensive multiplayer games where we can all interact together as a community and play. And so we've been doing a lot of War Thunder for that reason. And War Selection is another chance for us to do that. This game allows for up to 30 players in a match, and the best part about it is that it's free to play on Steam. Now, there are paid features, as with most free-to-play games. There are things that you can only get if you pay for it, and I'm willing to pay for those things in order to be able to host the game if that's what we need to do. But this allows for a 30-player free-for-all match, so there's a lot we can do with that. So I want to show you this partly just to let you know about the game, but also to let you know that the plans are we're going to do some multiplayer matches with this, and I want to host the first one hopefully as soon as maybe this weekend coming up. I will post about that not only on here but also over on Discord, and I'm going to create a channel for this game, and if folks want to organize matches in the meantime, then they can go for that. I've played 2 online multiplayer matches so far. The first one, there were 9 of us, and I got overrun pretty quickly and knocked out of the game probably about a half hour in. Second one, there were 3 of us in the match, and it ended up going 2.5 hours, and I won. And there must be multiple ways that you can win. In my case, what I did was I built a pretty strong defense. I never attacked the other players, but I was repeatedly attacked by one of the other players and threw back all of his attacks, and eventually I was able to create a wonder. And once you create the wonder, once you get to that point, you have a half hour until the game ends. So, but everybody on the map knows that you are about to win, so that makes you a target at that point. So I got attacked several more times, and then right at the very end, just as I had thrown back what I thought was the very last attack, the other player finally showed up and attacked me in the last 5 minutes, and I barely survived. And what's cool then after that is you can actually go back and watch a replay. And my game went 2.5 hours, that one. And I was able to watch a kind of sped up replay to see what the other players did compared to how I did things, so I could learn what to do differently. But I want to play through it a little bit just to kind of show you what the game's like. Basically, think Age of Empires. If you've ever played Age of Empires, this is pretty close to that. So let me show you a little bit of the gameplay. So here, I'm just showing you, if I set up a private match, it can be up to 30 players. Last surviving or holding a Wonder of the World wins. You can do it without Wonders of the World, which means that holding a Wonder of the World is not a requirement for victory. You can max out what the highest level of basically era, and I'll talk about the eras a little bit later. You can eventually get up to where you can get jets and some pretty high-end technology to fight with. You can choose the size of the map you want to play on. You can set the population limits. You can choose whether or not there are dangerous animals that are roaming about that you might run into. But I don't know if I can create one like this. I don't think I can. I'll have to kind of do something just to show it to you right now. Here are the different game modes. There's a multiplayer free-for-all. There's a multiplayer team match where you can have up to 30 players, but they're divided into teams. There's a rating battle where you have kind of like it's a one-on-one and you actually compete for ratings. And then here are some of the pay features. There's a single and multiplayer survival map where you face constant advance of enemy hordes. That's a pay feature, which I haven't paid for yet, but eventually I will. Sandbox is what I'm going to do today just to kind of show it to you. Eventually there will be campaigns. There are a number of nations available, and you can actually choose as you advance in technology which nation you want to play as. There is an Armageddon mode, which I don't know if it's available yet, but it can have up to 62 players. And the same settings in this case. Free-for-all, team match, Armageddon, survival, and then sandbox, where there's not really any goals and you can just kind of play and build to your heart's content. Sandbox is actually what I'm going to do right now, just to let you see a single player, just to kind of show you the game mechanics. Okay, just like any game, like Hearts of Iron, or not Hearts of Iron, like Age of Empires, you start in the Stone Age. You start with a bunch of villagers, which are going to do work for you. And very first thing you want to worry about here is building some additional houses, which are going to allow for you to have more workers. Right now I'm maxed out at 12, and you need to collect food and resources. Now, for the game's purposes, stone and wood are interchangeable. There's no separate stone and wood needed. So you gather stone or wood and you have the same result. You have building materials. So now I'm raising up the level of the number of workers that I'm able to have. And in order to advance to the next age, which is the Bronze Age, I need to have 20 workers, and I also have to have built a temple. And at that point, I can choose whether or not I want to go down the Europe tree or the Asia tree as I advance in technology. Now, you can queue up buildings that you don't necessarily have the resources to build, because it doesn't actually take the resources until they start building them. So you can see right now, I don't actually have, I think, the amount of resources I need to build the temple, but I will collect those. And once I have the resources to start construction, then I'll be able to build it. Here I've got Heavy Knight, which I get to start out with, which is kind of cool. It's actually advanced technology. It's Western Europe, which I don't really have yet. So I can't build more of those. And I also should have a scout somewhere. I'm not sure where he is, but I know you have one. And you can take them and kind of go about exploring the map. Once the temple turns green, that means I have the resources to go ahead and start building it. And I can send as many people I want to go build that to make it build a little faster. And once I have that, I will have, I need 3 more workers. And once I have those 3 workers, once I have the temple complete, this, which is the altar, will actually disappear and be replaced by this. And that'll officially put us in the Bronze Age. And then we will have to take it a step further and choose Europe or Asia, and go from there to the next level of technology that we need in order to advance to the next stage. Okay, so we can actually go Bronze Age Native Americans, Bronze Age of Africa, Bronze Age of Europe, or Bronze Age of Asia. In this case, I'm going to go with Bronze Age of Asia. Now, in order to advance, I've got to have at least 500 in construction resources. We're not there yet. So we're going to get all of these folks to continue to gather these trees. Once we advance to the Bronze Age, then we can start collecting things like copper, and copper will be necessary for us to be able to move forward. All right, we're about to advance to the Bronze Age of Europe. Now, once you advance to a particular continent, then further advancements are going to further specify. So in the case of Europe, I'm going to be able to advance to either Western Europe or Eastern Europe, depending on the way I want to do that. Now, when I've upgraded to the next age, immediately you can see over here that I have all kinds of upgrades that I can make. My workers need to be upgraded, and it's going to cost me 1,000 food to do that. We're going to go ahead. They'll all stop what they're doing while they upgrade. I can also upgrade my fight pit to a barracks. Now, sometimes when you advance, and I'll talk about this later, things like the barracks can be promoted to something different. So you might have a stable that you promote to a barracks, so it produces a totally different type of unit. Stonecutter can be advanced to forge. Stonecutter is where you research technologies to help further advance. We're going to raise our house levels as well, because that's going to allow for a greater capacity of people. Now, one of the things you notice is that we've gathered up all of our berries that are available. So now that we've hit the Iron Age, we can actually produce farms, which farms for the rest of the game are going to be my primary source of producing food. And they can really produce a lot of food. It's really nice how much you can get out of. My game that I won, my multiplayer game, I only had 3 farms the entire game. And they produced more than enough food to where I had so much food I didn't know what to do with it all. All right, so now my folks are having to go further and further away from the trees in order to be able to produce. So it makes sense in this case that I put a warehouse over here somewhere so that they don't have nearly as far to go to take their stores. It's going to save me a lot of time. The other thing that will save me a lot of time is if I start doing research on things that will allow me to do things faster. I think I already researched one of those. We can also get extra beds and homes, which is going to make my available manpower go up, as will upgrading the homes. But once we get this built, then I can just take the trees or the wood from here to here instead of carrying it all the way back to there. Now, before I can advance to the Iron Age of Europe, I have to have upgraded all of my other buildings. Until that happens, you have to either upgrade or destroy those buildings. Now that all my upgrades have happened, now I can start advancing to the Iron Age of Europe. You can see my farms now, and once they start getting low on their available food, you just hit this button here, and for 250 of your building resources, you will actually expand the amount of food they have to harvest. And that just becomes a never-ending supply of food that you can gather from. I'm going to go ahead and start sending some more villagers to gather, because we're going to start needing more copper. You can see we're up to about 500. We're going to need more than that. Within each of our available buildings, we have upgrades available. Spearmen can be trained right now. Archers can be trained, and I can build a better spear that increases their attack speed. I can build better bows that increase their attack range. And then eventually, once I level up to the Iron Age, I'm going to have even more buildings and more upgrades available to me. And of course, while all of this is going on, there are also potentially dozens of other opponents doing the same thing. And at any point, they could show up in the middle of my area attacking me. So I have to be thinking about defense. I need to think about things like building a palisade, which can eventually be upgraded to a stone wall. I can build guardian towers, which will give me archers that can fire over that wall at the troops that are attacking me. All right, so you can see now, since we've gotten up to the Iron Age of Europe, we have access to metal swords, which allow us to build swordsmen. A battle axe allows us to build an axeman, and then quilted leather, archers, spearmen are still available. So we can upgrade all of these things. We're also just about ready, actually. You can upgrade these first few levels pretty fast. We're ready to go to the Middle Ages of Western Europe or the Middle Ages of Eastern Europe. I'm going to go Western Europe. And so that's going to start advancing to that next level of technology. Now, when one of your units is being attacked, whether it's by animals or by another player, you'll get an attack warning like this. In this case, it's my heavy knight that was attacked by, looked like a wild boar, which is now a source of meat because we got him. In the meantime, we also need to be thinking about next step for resources, because these trees aren't going to last forever. There's a stone deposit here with 10,000 stone. That's going to become my next place for building resources. All right, now that we are in the early Middle Ages, we can once again go through the process of upgrading everything, and one of those includes upgrading our palisade to a proper wall. Now that takes some time. It doesn't take a ton of resources. Actually, it does. Each part takes a little bit, and you can see to upgrade just this entire section of wall, or a palisade to wall, would require 1,200, which we have. We have that amount available, so we'll go ahead and spend that. We can now upgrade our stone cutter, I think, to a workshop. Let's take a look. We can upgrade our farms to mills. Our forge can go up to a Western Europe forge. All 41 of our workers can be upgraded for most of the food that I have left. Warehouse of Europe can be upgraded to a warehouse Western Europe. Barracks can be upgraded to a fort once I have the resources to do that. There you go. Now my palisade's a wall. And so this is a process you go through every time you upgrade to the next level. I'm going to go ahead and start upgrading this. Now, here was an interesting thing. When you go to the next level of technology, your workers also have to be that level, or they can't build new buildings. So if I try to build a building for a level of technology and the workers are still a level behind, they can't build that building until they've been upgraded themselves. So we've run out of materials, building materials, but that's something we're going to start doing rapidly here, because we're going to be collecting stone over here with all of these idle workers, and they're going to start dropping it off in this warehouse right here, which is very nearly completed. We'll build that a little faster. There aren't any new buildings we can build. Oh, actually, I take that back. We can build trebuchets as static siege machines for defense if we want to. We can also upgrade this tower to we could actually put a gate there. Another thing we can do eventually is that we can actually build anti-aircraft guns when we get to that level. We can build machine gun towers, a lot of great things like that. Some of these guys actually went to start gathering food. I'm not sure I need them gathering food. I really need the building resources more than anything. Now let's take a look at our warehouses, because in the warehouses is also a place for research. You can increase the speed of stone material extraction as well as the speed of metal material extraction. So that's going to get these workers going even faster producing resources. And those little things can give me the edge over an opponent if I'm gathering resources quicker than he is. There's so many things that can set you so far ahead your opponents if you're doing it right. So here's what I was talking about before. This is where you can start to specialize your fort at the Western Europe level, early Middle Ages. You can specialize barracks, shooting range, stable. So if we go shooting range, for example, we'll see what that will make available to us. You can see here we can research complex block system, which will allow us to construct trebuchets. We can do Morgenstern, which unlocks the possibility to train a warrior with a Morgenstern. Smoothbore weapons, we can get light firearms. Crossbow, rawhide bowstring, so lots of research, so much customization available. And this is all, of course, only in the Western European research tree. And you can actually specify or specialize in nations, things like that. You can get all the way up to, say, you want to be Britain, for example. But that's really all there is to this game. And then there's, of course, the combat and the multiplayer and all of that. But I just wanted to kind of give you a first look. If you've ever played Age of Empires, it should feel really familiar to you. But we're going to play some of this, and this may actually become a regular feature on the channel, doing multiplayer matches with all of you. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I'll put the link in the description so you can go right to the Steam page. It is a free game. So start playing. We're going to play some this weekend, so start getting good at it. I am ready to rumble. I'm ready to have some fun. And I hope you like it. Drop a like if you would, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.